Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we'll learn about AWS Bastion Host, what they are, why we use them, and how to set up. By the end of this tutorial, you will know exactly how to securely connect to your private EC2 instances using a Bastion host. First thing first, what is a Bastion host? So a Bastion host is a special purpose server used as a secure gateway to access EC2 instances in private subnets. You may think of it like a security guard at the gate. Instead of exposing all your private servers to the internet, you expose only one machine, the Bastion host. So what is actually does is that it reduces your attack surface and keeps your VPC more secure. So that is one thing that we'll learn, but in between we will touch upon many AWS services. Okay, so while creating the Bastion host, we are going to learn how to set up a Bastion host in the AWS step by step. Along the way, we'll also cover some fundamentals AWS networking concept like VPC creation. We'll start by creating a virtual private cloud which act as an isolated network inside AWS. Then we will be creating our subnet, then route table and how to associate subnet in the route tables. We will be creating the internet gateways as well. We'll attach an internet gateway so resources in the public subnet can access the internet. Like this is in our public subnet that can access the internet through internet gateway. Then we will be creating various EC2 instances also, like web server, app server, and the Bastion host itself. In between, we will be creating key pair as well that will help us in SSHing to our instances. We'll create elastic IP and NAT gateways as well. In the journey, we will also be creating the security groups, which will be help us tightly control the inbound and outbound traffic. And at the very last, we'll also learn the concept of ENI and how to create and attach ENI. So with that, all these topics that we will be learning in this tutorial, let's start with the tutorial itself. I will be referring to this architecture diagram. So now let's directly jump into the AWS console itself. We will be going step by step. So first thing first, we will be creating our VPC. So VPC, which should be in the subnet of 10.100/16. So let's get going. We'll start with the VPCs. So I am in the AWS management console. Just yeah, wait, refresh to complete. Yeah, that is completed. Let's go to VPC. We'll click on your VPCs and then create VPCs. I will be selecting VPC only, VPC and more. This is a separate topic altogether where an AWS help us configuring all of the things in one go, like VPC, subnet, security groups and all. So currently we'll go with VPC only. I'll name my VPC as my VPC. Okay. The CIDR block, again refer to the architecture diagram, that is 10.100/16. We'll put 10.100/16. Sorry, 16. Tenancy, I'll leave it to default. Tags will accept whatever is there by default. We'll hit create VPC. So VPC has been created. You can see my VPC. It is in available state and the IPv4 CIDR range is 10.100/16. So we are done with the VPC. What next? We will be creating the three subnets that we have shown here. One is management subnet, then public subnet, and then private subnet. Let's go to subnets. We'll create these subnets one by one. First of all, these subnet will be in under some VPC. So I will be selecting my VPC. I'll name first subnet as management subnet, my management subnet. Yeah. So this is the management subnet. The range is 10.1.200. So I'll put 10.1.200.0/24. Is that correct? Yeah, this is the correct one. So this is my management subnet. This is the CIDR block, and we'll hit create subnet. So we have created one, and in the similar way we'll be creating the other two as well. Select your VPC, name your VPC. That would be my private subnet, and then refer to the diagram. Private subnet is 10.1.100. So 10.1.100.0/24. Then hit create subnet. So we are done with the two subnets. We'll be creating the last one. The last one is the public subnet. I'll name it as my public subnet, and the subnet range is 10.1.50.0. I'll put the same 10.1.50.0/24. Okay. So we are done with the subnet creation. So till this time, yeah, till the time what all we have created, we have created the VPC, we have created three subnet. One is management subnet, public subnet, and the private subnet. So that is done. What else? Let's go to the route table once. So this is the default route table that created by AWS by default while we have created the VPC. So just for the segregation and identification, I'll put this as my default route table. Okay. The subnet we have created, but we will also be creating the route tables for different subnets, and will associate the subnet to these route tables. So this will actually help us for proper traffic flow. So let's do this one by one. We'll create route table. I'll name it as my MGMT, and RT I'll name it for route table. I'll select the VPC and the name. We'll create it. Okay. Let's quickly create for all three. My private RT. This is what. Yeah. Your VPC will create. We are done with the management and private. One more to go. My public RT. Okay. This will live in my VPC only. So first one was created with the VPC itself, that is my default RT, that was created by AWS itself while we created our VPC. The rest three we have created. One is my management RT, one is my private RT, and another one is my public RT. So get back to the architecture diagram. Here we can see the management subnet will have the internet connectivity, right? Through what? Through internet gateway. And you can also see the public subnet will also have the internet access for internet requests. Okay, so that will also see. So first we have to create the internet gateways, and then we have to attach it to our VPC. Okay, that's why I have put this gateway at the boundary of the VPC, because internet gateway is always attached to the VPC only. Okay, so let's go to the internet gateways. We'll create internet gateway. I'll name it as my internet gateway. We'll hit create internet gateway. So internet gateway is created but you can check the state. It is still detached. So what we have to do is we have to actually attach to the VPC. Select the VPC. My VPC is there. Attach internet. So now state is attached. So what we have done, we have created the internet gateway and attached to our VPC, that 10.1.0.0/16, that is our VPC, and we have attached that internet gateway to the VPC. So now we also had created some route tables. So let's put some route as well. Before that, let's do the subnet association. Route table we have created, but for now no routes, or rather say no subnet has been created or associated to these route tables. We'll go to management route table first. We'll go to subnet association. I'll click the subnet association and select my MGMT route. So this MGMT subnet will now have a different routing table. Okay, so you can see my MGMT route have now a subnet association to it. Similarly, we'll do for others as well. Let's select my private association. I will click on edit and then we'll select the private subnet. Click on save. We are done with two. Last one is my public RT. Okay, go to public RT, subnet association, edit subnet association. We'll select the public subnet. Click save. So now, till now what we have done, we have created the VPC as my VPC. We have created 3 subnets, and then we have created routing table, and the routing, the or rather say route tables is now associated with our respective subnets as well. We had also created internet gateway for the internet connectivity to the management subnet and the public subnet. So till now this is all we have done, but go to route table once again. What I want to do you is to edit routes. So by default you can see this is the local route. For every route table you'll get a default route that will be local to your subnet, or let's say to your VPC. Okay, but this route, the route table name is what? My management route table. Okay, the management subnet will have internet connectivity. So what we have to create? We have to create, let me go to the route table once again. MGMT, yeah, subnet associations, yeah, we have to go to the edit routes. So we have to add route and we have to define that anything, the destination, if destination is anything apart this subnet, then go to our internet gateway that we have created right now, right? My internet gateway. Select it, save changes. So one management subnet will have the internet access, and the other one is your public subnet will also have the internet connection. So go again to the route table. We'll go to my public route table, edit routes, and I will put again the default route, which is destination to anything will go from my internet gateway. Okay, select the same. Okay, so till now we are done with the VPC creation, the subnet creation. Okay, we have created 3 route table for each subnets, and we have associated the route table with their respective subnet. We had also created internet gateways, rather one internet gateway, and that gateway is being used in this route table for default route, which is what? 0.0.0.0/0. Any traffic beyond this subnet will go, or rather will take this path, the internet gateway path. So we are done with the basic infra setup, wherein we have a VPC, We have subnet, we have route table, we have internet gateway for internet connectivity. Let's proceed with the EC2 creation. So till now what we have done, VPC creation is done, the subnet configuration is done, route table and subnet association we have already seen. Internet gateway creation process I already have walked you through. Let's go with EC2 instance launch. Okay, so here you have to search EC2. We'll click on EC2 launch instance. We will be creating the basin host first. Okay, I'll name it as basin host. Okay, this is the AMI, Amazon Machine image. So these there are various options like Amazon Linux, Mac OS, Ubuntu, whatever as per your choice you can select it. We do have Windows. So here I'll go with the default one, that is Amazon Linux. I'll take it rather select it Amazon Linux. The AMI is already selected, and then instance type you can change it if you want. I will go with 64-bit x86 only. Okay, yeah, is it correct one? Yeah, this is the correct one. Okay, I'll instance type, I will be going to t3.micro, which is in free tier eligibility. The key pair login, to SSH to your instance. Okay, you need a key pair. So what you can do, you can create a new key pair. Okay, so there are two format. While creating the key pair, you will find one option as .pem, that can be used with your command prompt, your PowerShell, anything which is using OpenSSH, that can be utilized. But if you are using PuTTY, then you have to install or rather create .ppk file. So I already have one, so I will not be creating it, but it is very simple. You can name it something and then select your PEM, the private key file format. You should select .pem and then create key pair. One thing that you should always remember, uh, if you lost your key pair, in that case you won't be able to access your instance. If you lost your key pair, you will end up losing your instance as well. Okay, your EC2 instance as well. So whenever you are creating the key pair, ensure we are saving it on a different drive or whatever backup solution we have. You have to always keep them safe, otherwise you will end up losing your instance. So I will not be creating one, but you can definitely create it from here. I have already created one. I'll go through it. I will be selecting it only, and that is test EC2 demo. That is fine. I'll click on edit. Network settings. This is the section wherein you will be specifying in what VPC and in what subnet you will be putting this instance that you are creating. So currently I am creating basin host. So basin host EC2 instance is in management subnet. Okay. So what I will do is I have already selected my VPC, and the subnet I'll choose as my management subnet. Okay, because I will be accessing this EC2 instance from outside also, from internet also. So I'll have to enable this one, auto assign public IP. I'll enable it, and the firewall security group. So this is the section wherein we will be restricting the SSH traffic to from my IP only. So allow SSH from my IP only. So that security group we will be creating right now, that will define that you can only SSH into this instance using my own public IP. So let's stick with the name that I have written here, that is JumpBox -SG. I will put the same name, JumpBox hyphen SG is short format for security group. So that is there. And in the rules, you can see SSH protocol would be a TCP, default port is 22, source type. So anywhere is the default option, but what we are limiting or restricting is you can only SSH to this instance using your own IP. Okay, so if you select my IP, you'll get your own public IP from which you are currently accessing this console. Okay, so this is mine. Okay, and you can always put the description like SSH from my IP only. Okay, so I think we are done and we are good to go. Okay, click on launch instance. You can see it is in the range of 10.1.200.85. Quickly check 10.1.200.0/24. This comes in the same subnet, and we also have a public IPv4 address because we have enabled that option. Okay, so the VM is created, rather you can say EC2 is created with the name of Bastion Host. We also have created one security group, uh, that is JumpBox SG, that is actually restricting SSH traffic inwards to EC2 from my IP only. Okay, that way we will be limiting the SSH connections. Okay, and we'll be securing our Bastion host. So right now, I guess instance is still in creating state. Let me check. Yeah, you can check. The name is there, Bastion host. It is currently in running state. Instance type you can check that we had selected as t3.micro. Status check is still under initializing state. So it is, creating the VM availability zone. You can check the public IP address is there. Monitoring we haven't enabled right now. Security group, JumpBox SG that we created and attached to this instance. The key pair that we are using is test EC2 demo, that is already there. The platform type, because we were using the Linux Amazon image, so platform is Linux. So till the time it is creating, let me check once again if it is already created. No, it is still in initializing state. So what we can do, we can proceed further. In between the EC2 will get created, we'll proceed further with the app server creation. Okay, that private, that will be in the private subnet. We will be creating the app server. So let's proceed with that. Click on instance, launch instance. The name of the server, that should be app server. I'll put the name as app server. I already have explained you about the different options, so I will not repeat. I'm going with the Amazon Linux only. The architecture will remain as is. The instance type is t3.micro, which is under free tier eligible. Key pair you can reuse it actually. So I'll go with test EC2 demo, or whatever you have, you must have created. You can go with that. So key pair you can always reuse. Now we have to make the changes here because this will be in our which subnet, private subnet. Okay, so we'll go with the private subnet. I'll keep this option as disabled because this is our private subnet and we don't want the public access for this instance. Okay, so I'll leave this as disabled. Security group I'll name is as private SSH SG. Okay, so we want to say that this group will only allow Yeah, so for security group, what we'll do is we'll name is as private. Uh, Let me get this corrected once. Private SSH SG. Okay, and what we will be defining is we don't want any inbound security group rules. Okay, we don't want to SSH to this instance. Okay, so what I will do is I'll I'll remove this. Okay, so this is the group, but that don't have any inbound group configured. So that is fine. I think we are good to create this instance as well. Let's verify it quickly. App server. This is in which my VPC, my private subnet. Yeah, this is fine. I'll hit launch instance. Click on instances and let's verify the status. So as you can see, a Bastion host, the server that we created earlier, is now ready. 3 by 3 checks passed. It means the VM is ready, we can access it. And the VM that we created just now, named with app server, that is still being baked and currently is in initializing states. So let's do one thing. Let's create the last instance as well, and then we will be configuring these things as well. So we are done with the Bastion host. We have created the app server. Now we are left with the web server. Okay, so let's do this as well. I'll name it as web server. The instance type will be the same. I'll select the key pair. What I will change is I will change the subnet. So my public subnet, and again this server will be accessed by the external user using the HTTP request, right? So what we can do is we can enable this auto assign public IP. Okay, so that we have done. The security group, what we can put is what I will put is the HTTP requests. Okay, -sg. Okay, so this time we'll change the traffic type. I'll put HTTP, which is the default port is 80. I'll keep the source type is from anywhere because this web server will be accessed by the external users through the internet. They can reach out to the website. Okay, so I'll put anywhere. I'll allow the HTTP traffic only, which will be on port 80. Okay, anything else that we should configure? My public subnet, the security group we have. Okay, one more thing I want to show you. uh, Extra, I would say, a bonus step, that is nothing but the user data. So this concept is what, like, whenever you will create launch instance, so while creating the instance, whatever you will put here will get installed. Okay, so let me put something. Okay, I have this user data, so let me put this user data here. So what if it will do post creation of the instance, it will update the repository, it will install the Apache web server, start the services. Okay, and then enable the service on the boot, and a sample, the page in the HTML file. So that is run once kind of script. It will only be executed the first time when we are creating your instance. So I think we are done. What I will do is I will hit launch instance. So till the time, let's go back to the structure that we had. Yeah, so we created our VPC, we created internet gateways, we created the three subnet, management subnet, public subnet, private subnet, and we created the security groups. Okay, and then what we have done is uh, we have created one security group here, one here, and on this server we had created a separate security group to allow the HTTP request from the outside. So till that time we are done with all these. We are remaining with the NAT gateway. I'll explain you the concept as well. We have also learned about the user, user data. So that was not in the list. You can take it as a bonus. So let's get back to the instances. Okay, give it a refresh. I think, yeah, all three are there. All three are in running state, while two has been already created and ready to be accessed. The third one, the web server, is still uh, is in creation process. You can say it is still in initializing phase. So let's vet whatever we have configured till now, and let's see if we are able to access these or not. So we'll go with the basin host first. So basin host have two IP. One is public IP and one is the private IP. So since we are or we will be accessing through our IP only. So what we can do, we can copy this IP and we'll try to access it. Okay. So let's copy it. Open your PowerShell. Okay, and put SSH. So by default, the AMI that we had selected was Amazon Linux. Okay, so by default, the default user is EC2 hyphen user at your public IP that we have copied from this console. Okay, and then one more thing, without the key that we had created, we won't be able to access it. Okay, so what we can do, we'll put the path of that key. So let's go there and copy the path. It should be in my downloads, and then this is the path. I'll copy it as path. I'll put it here and then enter. You can see I'm able to access my EC instance through the PowerShell using SSH. The default username was EC2-user. If you have selected the Amazon Linux AMI, then the default user will be this. Otherwise, if you have selected Ubuntu, then the username will be different. Okay, so it will be as per your AMI. So we are able to, let me prove that as well. So this is the internal IP. Okay, right, this is the internal IP, and we have accessed it through 13.200.246.87. That is our public IP. So we are here. Okay, let's check the instances, the status of the instances. Yeah, so all three are now up and running. We have already validated the basin host. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's try to access our web server as well. You can see it only have 10.1.100.52. Okay, this is what, this is our app server, the internal one. Okay, so it don't have any private, or rather public IP, because you can see we don't have internet gateway. But what if this instance want internet access? Like if we want to update the OS version or patching or anything, it need the outbound internet access, right? We don't want anything from the internet inbound, but we want the internet access, that will be outbound traffic. Okay, for these purposes we don't use internet gateway, rather we do have a different service, that is NAT gateway. Okay, so before NAT gateway, let's do one thing. uh, this server, okay, the app server is only have this IP address 10.1.100.52, 10.1.100 from this subnet. So how to access this? If you want to SSH, how we can access this EC2 instance? We don't have IPv4 public address, right? Go back to the architecture diagram. There is no internet connectivity. We only, what we want? The only Bastion host EC2 instance can access or can SSH to this instance. So for this, what we'll do, there is a different concept, that is of ENI. So ENI is nothing but a virtual network card for our instances, providing flexibility in managing network connections. So right now it only have one interface, network interface, that is having 10.1.100 IP address. So what we can do, we can create a different ENI, or you can refer it as a virtual network card, and can attach to this network 10.1.200, so that it can access this EC2 instance. Okay, so let's do that as well. So ENI option, you will find it under the EC2, and then the network and security, you'll find network interfaces. Here you can see we already have multiple ENIs, right? So these ENIs are nothing but the interface that we have created for our EC2 instances, that is already there. Okay, you can see we have two instances that have NAT internet access through internet gateways. Okay, so you can see these two have the IPv4 addresses as well as the private address as well. But this one, the last one, that is for this app server, don't have any don't have any public IPv4 address. So what we can do, we can create an interface. So let's create an interface. Okay, I'll name it as mgmt ENI for app server. Okay, the subnet will, okay, the ENI will live, the ENI will live in this management subnet, because the ENI, we want ENI to have an IP address of this range, right? So it will live in the management subnet only. So I'll create this ENI in my management subnet. Okay, now it is asking for a security group. Okay, security group. Okay, so we haven't created a security group. Let me show you. Okay, how to create a security group. We'll go to EC2 security group. These were created while we were creating our EC2 instances. So what we'll do, we'll create a new security group. I'll name it as JumpBox SSH. Okay, and this is for what? This is for ENI. I'll select test. I'll select the VPC. Outbound traffic. Actually, we don't want any outbound traffic. We are creating it for a separate thing. For what? You might have guessed. We are creating it for SSH. Okay, SSH from which source, right? From where? So what we can suggest or put SSH from this subnet, right? 10.1.200.0. If any SSH request is coming from this subnet, okay, it will allow the SSH. So what I can do is I'll put 10.1. It's 200, right? 200.0/24. I'll put this one SSH from Bastion host. Got it? I'll create it. Okay. SSH from Bastion, or rather put management subnet. Okay. I will put the same here as well. Create security group. So security group has been created. Let's get back to the ENI thing. Okay. So what we'll do, we'll create network interface, hit network interface. I'll put mg ENI for what? For our app server, or let's put like that, for our private subnet. Okay, let's put EC2 instance name only, because we will be attaching it to EC2. So I'll put web server. Okay, subnet I'll select. As I earlier told you, the ENI will be living in that subnet from which we want the IP address. So we want an IP address of this subnet 10.1.200. So this ENI will live here, but we can attach the ENI to our instance. So what we will do, I'll put in our management subnet only. Okay, the security group that we just have created, SSH from management subnet, remember, will select it, JumpBox SSH ENI, and will create the interface. Yeah, so which interface is this one, right? I'll put the name as well, because don't have name here. Okay, so this is our, and the other thing you can validate that is in available state. It means the ENI or the network interface card has not been attached to any EC2 instance. So what we will do, we'll attach. Okay, attach where? In my VPC to my which instance? App server instance. Okay, we'll click on attach, and now let's see the magic. This was our app server, right? This is in 10.1.100 subnet. Let's click on that. What you can see, now we have two network interface card. One is in the private subnet, okay, and the another one is from management subnet. So now we can reach this server as well. So let's do a practical as well. Since this is a private IP, you won't be able to access it from the internet, right? So what we can do, the Bastion host will come into the picture, will be SSHing into this EC2 instance, and from here we will be connecting to this EC2 instance. So let's go back to our server. This one is our Bastion host server. So what we will do is SSH EC2 hyphen user, then the IP, this one, right? I'll copy it, I'll put it here. Now, what is missing? Can we access it? Let's click yes. The permission is denied. Why so? Because we haven't specified the public keys. You remember we need the key pair to access these instances. So on this VM we don't have the key, but we had downloaded it, right? So what we can do, we can create a key pair .pem file here. Okay, so what I will do, I'll use touch test.pem file, okay, and then nano to test.pem, okay, and the key pair that you must have downloaded, just open it. You'll get something like this. Copy it, okay, and put here. Control X, Y, done. Okay, now we have test.pem file. But one more thing, for your public keys, and the permission should be right. So what we'll do a chmod. 400 is the correct permission type for this. I will name it this one. Now let's try again. Before that, just let's verify if we have the content in test.pem or not. You can say that is there. So what we'll do is we'll try to SSH. Now we can specify the test.pem key pair. We are in. You can verify, right? 10.100.52, 10.100.52. But what do you think? This instance will have the internet connectivity or not? Refer the diagram once again. There is no internet gateway attached to it, right? So we want to be able to access the internet until we create a NAT gateway. Okay, there is another concept. When you want your EC2 instance, which is in the private subnet, but you want the outbound internet access, in those scenarios you may create the NAT gateway. For inbound traffic from the internet, you have to create the internet gateway. But if we only want the internet accesses outbound, then we have to create the NAT gateway. So let's go here. We'll again navigate back to our VPC. I'll click on VPC. You can see here NAT gateways. So I'll create on NAT gateway. Okay, I'll put the name as my NAT gateway. I'll create a this NAT. Okay, one more thing. NAT gateway will always be in your public subnet. It means the subnet through which we have the internet connectivity. So we have two subnet from where we have the internet connectivity. For my public subnet, yes, we have the internet gateway, and for the management subnet as well, we have the internet gateway. So I can choose any one of them. I will go with the public subnet. Okay, elastic IP. So elastic IP, what we can say is the AWS platform will give you a static IP to access the internet. Okay, so That is the mean of the elastic IP. Okay, what I can show you is, first let me click on allocate the elastic IP. I'll show you what is the elastic IP. So my NAT gateway is created. Go to elastic IP. You can see we haven't created it, but while creating the NAT gateways, AWS has automatically created this, the elastic IP. Okay, so let's name it as my elastic IP. Okay, done. Okay, now elastic IP NAT gateways has been created. You can see NAT gateway has been created, but we need to specify that something which is destined, you know, other than the local traffic should be routed through the NAT gateway. So the default route 0.0.0/0 should be routed through the NAT gateway. So we need to specify in the route table that if anything which is not, belongs to this subnet, then route the traffic through the NAT gateway. So let's go to the route table. This is which subnet? The private subnet. Let's go to the private route table, edit routes, add routes. Okay, select the default route. This time will not select internet gateway. Okay, because it will also allow the inbound traffic. For our private subnet, we only want the outbound internet access. So we'll select NAT gateway. The gateway that we just created is iNAT gateway. Save changes. Let's verify. You can see the ping has started. Now we have the internet accesses to this instance as well, outbound, not inbound. If we want to access this EC2 instance, we can't access it through the internet, but we have to come through the Bastion host. In that way, we can secure this private subnet as well and our EC2 instance as well. We have the internet access through the NAT gateway, but from internet it can't be accessed, but it can access the internet. I hope I am not confusing you. Okay, so let's move forward to our public subnet. So you remember we created the public subnet and we allowed inbound HTTP traffic, right? And we had put that user data as well to create the web server and all. So let's validate that as well. Go to the EC2 instance. I'll go to the instance. Okay, where is the web server? This is my web server. Okay. This has two IP. One is the public IP address and one is the internal. Let's copy it. Let's validate if our web services are working or not, or rather the web page is working or not. I'll put HTTP because we have allowed this traffic only. You can see this is coming from my 10.150.59, right? Is this the correct? Yeah, 1.50.59. So web services, or rather the website which was hosted on this EC2 is working fine. We are left with just one thing, that is, accessing this EC2 host. Right now, only port 80 is open, right? We can only access port 80. We can only access port 80. SSH is not allowed. If you want to SSH, then we have to come through our Bastion host and then to the web server instance. Okay, so let's quickly configure that as well, and then we will be done with the lab. So for that, what we should do? Again, we have to create an ENI. So go back, instances, and then network interface. We already have created one for the app server. We will be creating another one, the management ENI, for our web server. I'll put the same name, mgmt hyphen ENI hyphen. This time we are creating it for our web server. Again, this will live in management subnet. SSH from management subnet, this SG group that we had created. I'll select it. I'll create this interface that is created, but let's verify which one is the correct one. This one is the available mode, right? You can check. So this one is the newly created. I'll name it. Okay, we'll open it and we'll attach this to which one? The web server instance. Okay, before that, let me show you EC2. Okay, go to instances. I'll open up the web server. Let's open it. Right now we only have one interface and have one public IP address attached to it and one private IP address. What we'll do, we'll attach another ENI with that management subnet, and we'll see. Okay, attach. Now come here, refresh. Now we have another interface with this IP. Let's quickly verify if we can access this one as well. Okay, the IP address will change this time. Now we are accessing our web server. We are in IP address. We can validate 2.38.50.9, right? So with this we have completed this tutorial. So I think the learning topics that I have mentioned, I forgot to mention one thing, that was uh, the user data, right? The user data I forgot to mention. So we have covered that as well. So what we all have learned is VP creation, subnet configuration, route table creation, and subnet association. We also seen the internet gateway creation, how to attach it to the VPC. We created 3 EC2 instance as well, and the key pair creation, the process I already have told you how to create it. Elastic IP, we have seen the NAT gateway setup that we used for this EC2 instance, that also we have covered. Security group rules, we have created many security group like JumpBox SC and the private SSS HS SG as well. The ENI we have created for this instance and for this web server as well. So this conclude with the the lab. We are done with the lab. So if you like the video, please hit subscribe, do follow us, do share the videos with other as well. I hope this session was informative, and thanks for watching.